Yo, what's up, my people? I hope everybody's doing good. Now, let's get back to these crazy videos.
It is believed that this encounter took place in 2017, although no official confirmation from the government has been provided. The video begins with a man standing a short distance away from what appears to be an extraterrestrial being, commonly referred to as a gray. Both individuals face each other and maintain eye contact for several moments. The extraterrestrial's physical features resemble typical depictions of grays: a hairless, pale grayish skin tone, large dark eyes, and a slight frame. The man remains calm throughout the encounter, showing no signs of distress or fear. Their interaction appears to be nonverbal, as no audible communication is captured in the leaked video. Despite this, their body language seems engaged and focused. The man and the extraterrestrial being exchange glances, perhaps attempting to convey meaning or understanding to one another. It is worth noting that any interpretation of their interaction remains speculative due to the lack of context provided. After a brief period of visual engagement, the man and the extraterrestrial reach out and firmly shake hands. This momentary physical contact suggests a mutual acknowledgement or agreement between the two parties. The handshake appears formal, devoid of any overt displays of emotion or excitement. Both individuals maintain a composed demeanor throughout the encounter, further adding to the enigmatic nature of the video. It is important to emphasize that the authenticity and veracity of this video remain unverified. As no official confirmation or statements have been released by the government or reputable sources, skepticism should be exercised when evaluating the footage. The leaked video serves as a piece of intriguing but unconfirmed evidence in the realm of alleged extraterrestrial encounters. As with any leaked material, its origin and intentions behind its release by an anonymous source raise additional questions about its credibility. The lack of supporting information or corroboration adds further complexity to the assessment of this alleged encounter. Without official documentation or reliable sources, it is impossible to draw definitive conclusions regarding the nature and significance of this encounter. Until further evidence emerges or official disclosures are made, this leaked video remains an unverified curiosity within the realm of alleged extraterrestrial encounters.
Can we stop this superintelligence? How? Again, how? Okay. That's it. Fine, guys. Time to meet God.
Shots fired. Name and position. Sure, Circle.
OpenAI just changed the video world forever. They publicly released Sora. You put text in, you get cinema quality video out. And this is going to change everything about making content. All these examples were made using Sora, and the quality is pretty mind-blowing. But I will say this, the hardest thing about AI video is getting it to generate exactly what's in your head. So Sora built a few things to solve this. They have a tab that lets you see the full prompt of any video that's been made. You can copy the prompt or remix directly on top of it with slight tweaks. Also, you can use this reference guide when you're prompting. Screenshot this. It has a bunch of different camera terminology that'll help you. Now, Sora is not going to be the only winner in AI video, but I do see this as a canary in the coal mine. Video work, animation, film, movies, YouTube, social media, it's all going to change. In some ways, tools like Sora make things way easier. I don't need to fly to Manhattan to get a drone shot. I can just print 100 variations whenever I want. But in other ways, winning with video is going to get much, much harder, because when anyone can make anything, storytelling becomes the most important thing. Sora is now publicly available for anyone with an OpenAI Pro plan. And there's a ton more here. If you're a creator, the game has just changed.
Yeah, I've always been a creator of some sort. I'm not the best at it, but I love doing it. And I love sharing all the information that I find with you.
Meta is building a massive underwater internet cable that will connect 3 continents and stretch over 24,000 miles. This $10 billion project is called W because of its shape and runs from the US East Coast to India, then to Australia, and back to the US West Coast. Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp account for over 20% of all mobile internet traffic. So this cable will let them control their own data highways instead of relying on others. India is the key destination. With over 1 billion users across Meta's apps, India has become their biggest market. Some think Meta might use this cable to build massive AI training centers in India, where computing costs are much lower than in America. When finished, it will be Meta's first fully owned underwater cable system, marking a new chapter in how tech giants control internet infrastructure.
What if I told you there's a private AI tech company secretly replacing people with AI clones so lifelike that no one even realizes their loved ones are gone? A highly secretive AI company called VoxSynth has developed technology that can replicate someone's voice, mannerisms, and even personality with chilling accuracy. They aren't just making voice assistants or deep fakes. This company is abducting real people, using them as templates to create AI versions of them that seamlessly take over their lives, leaving family, friends, and colleagues completely unaware. VoxSynth targets individuals who live alone, who have minimal social connections, or travel often, people whose disappearance could be quietly covered up. Once someone is taken, the company's AI engineers create an AI clone that replicates the person's voice and personality so well that it can hold phone conversations and send texts to family and friends without raising suspicion. The AI persona tells everyone that they're simply relocating for a new job or traveling somewhere remote, and ensuring no one questions their absence.
Everything is moving way too fast. I don't know if we can catch up, but it seems to me like there's something weird going on with this container business. I don't know if they actually are taking people to, take their persons. Who knows, man? Let's hope that's not true.
Okay, we got a terrifying update from the shipping containers conspiracy.
Did you hear that? There was someone banging on the door of that container. Not even fucking kidding me. What the fuck?
If you don't know, a lot of people are concerned that humans are being shipped in these large containers at night. A lot of people in the area have actually heard screams coming from the containers, so they think that it's actually people in them. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments below, because I am spooked.
If you do hear something like that, you gotta say something.
There's this physicist, his name is Miguel Alcubierre of Mexico, and he conceived the calculations for a theoretical ship that could travel faster than the speed of light. This is where it gets trippy, because physics say you can't travel faster than the speed of light, but this ship, it stays still. In the universe, the cosmos travels past it. It creates its own space-time bubble where it doesn't defy the laws of physics, a gravitational wave-making machine that compresses the ocean of space-time and front of it and expands that ocean in its wake.
What?
With this equation, they said that you can travel 6 trillion miles in the blink of an eye because the cosmos, the universe, galaxies are moving that fast.
6 trillion miles.
In a blink of an eye.
Are you kidding me?
No! But isn't that a wild idea to think about, of a ship that doesn't move,
right?
But
Time
it still travels.
If it's standing still, what does that mean? I don't understand.
It's just here, and it creates its own space-time gravitational field around it.
Right.
So it becomes its own space that's moving through space.
Yeah, that theory is nothing new. We've heard it before in a show, cartoon show by the way, where they always tell you the little snippets of truth or the things that are coming in the future.
Damn it! We'll have to fix the engine ourselves.
We can't, you bastard. No one knows how it works. It's impossible.
Nothing is impossible. I understand how the engines work now. It came to me in a dream. The engines don't move the ship at all. The ship stays where it is, and the engines move the universe around it.
That's a complete load.
Nothing's a complete load. Not if you can imagine it. That's what being a scientist is all about. Right, Professor? Let's ride.
I just came back from Egypt a few months ago, and I went to 10 pyramids. On every pyramid, we found mushroom hieroglyphics, every one of them. Now, I sent this through Graham Hancock, some of these hieroglyphs, and Egyptologists said, no, they're shovels. Well, scientists don't look at Egypt in the context of the ecosystem 4,000 years ago. There's no mushrooms growing there. It's a desert. 2 other scientists have published this before me. The hieroglyphs on these temples are of psilocybin mushrooms.
So those look like mushrooms.
Yeah, that's one of them.
Boy, they still look like mushrooms.
He published this in 2016. This is the goddess Hathor at the Dendera temple. If you look this up, it gets less than 1 millimeter of rain a year. That's how dry it is. That's the vase there with these mushroom-like figures coming out, and the lower part is the blue lotus, a water lily associated with a mushroom.
Those are so obviously mushrooms.
They're not a shovel.
No,
the shovel would be upside down.
It's so obviously mushrooms,
so
but it's
obviously,
also like the way the cap is formed.
We have a reward of $1,000 for anyone who can find psilocybe cubensis DNA in the ruins. And because we can amplify the DNA, we can prove that they were either in the vases, in the ponds, or near the ponds and doing core samples.
That's what I say, man. More mushroom for the people. Legalize it.
Speaking of Jesus, did you guys hear about this church in Switzerland called St. Peter's Chapel? For confessionals, they have a AI-powered hologram of Jesus.
Sick.
That you confess your sins to. People have described it as having an amazing spiritual experience. And it's like, dude, no.
Why do we think this is a good idea?
Yeah, and the church said that it's not a permanent thing, but similar chatbots could one day take some of the responsibility of church pastors in the future.
Oh my God. How about no?
Yeah.
How about there's other things that they can do?
Like, this is the beginning of the end of the world.
Let kindness and compassion steer your course.
Initiate confessional sequence. Z/5. Speak at the tone.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. Yes, my son.
I had the dream again.
The devil comes in many shapes. The best way to combat him is through personal sacrifice and an honest day's labor.
Am I the only person noticing this, or are church bells no longer ringing? So I grew up in New York, and if you're a New Yorker, you know that there are churches around every corner. Even just a couple of years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, the church right by where I live, the church bell rings like clockwork. But ever since 2019, I have barely heard these church bells ring, if at all. And so many of my friends have been saying the same thing. So many of my clients who come to me have been also noticing that church bells aren't ringing anymore. And this is not just in the United States. This is in other countries as well. If we understand the science of frequencies, it in itself is like a language. When I speak, I send out frequencies. You can hear my tone. The higher the frequency, the more high-pitched, and that's really uncomfortable for certain ears to hear. Well, church bells, or just bells that are shaped like this, are quite comfortable for the human ear, but for the paranormal ears, like demons, parasitic entities, fallen angelics, this is like nails on a chalkboard. To preface this by saying I'm not a religious person, I am spiritual, but we cannot deny that a lot of ancient religious texts are telling you the truth. And in the Bible, I believe they have alluded to the fact that during the end times, as the veil are thinning, true evil is going to show its face. It's going to rear its ugly head. Now, if you are a demon, negative alien, fallen angelic, or whatever you want to call it, if you wanted to have dominion over planet Earth, and the frequency of the bell sound agitated you, of course you would want to stop it. And it is incredibly strange how these past couple of years, when the highest amount of people are spiritually awakening because the veil is thinning, we are going to the age of Aquarius, these bells are no longer sounding or ringing. What I believe potentially happened is that we transitioned through the astrological signs, right? We used to be in the age of Pisces, now we're going to the age of Aquarius. Think of it like a mechanism. You know how a mechanism spins? And each time it spins, it locks in, but before it locks in, there's a momentary gap. That gap is the veil thinning. And this is prime time for whatever entities from other dimensions, other worlds to come onto Earth. This is possibly one of their last chances to try to have as much influence as possible. But so far, I don't think it's working out very well for them, because no matter what they try, we are rapidly waking up. I've personally been experiencing a lot of sulfur smells like clockwork almost every single night at 2 to 3 a.m. And you know what that means? It means a demon is visiting you. That would make a lot of sense because I am trying to awaken a lot of people, so they don't like me. If you have been experiencing something similar to me, I recommend you getting one of these bells.
Yeah, the vibrations have always been a problem for negative creatures. So maybe we should start doing that again. You need to start vibrating higher. Teach that to other people.
Welcome to the Prison Planet, where everything is designed to make you suffer and your energy is being harvested. Prison Planet theory dictates that we are always tricked into reincarnation. We come back to this world because our energy is being harvested. Well, what kind of energy is being harvested? Our negative energy, and that's why everything in this world is designed to make us feel so negative. Today we're going to talk about Buddhism and what it potentially says about the Prison Planet theory. So the Buddha taught that reincarnation is an endless cycle of suffering. This cycle is called samsara. The opposite of samsara is nirvana, and that is a state of absolute joy, peace, and just extreme happiness. Well, what is samsara? It is depicted as a wheel. There's a lot going on here, and so we're going to dive into this, piece by piece, or some of the pieces. So at the center of the wheel, you have the three poisons, which are depicted as a pig, a rooster, and a snake. The pig represents ignorance. We're ignorant to the fact that we are all connected. It is thinking like an individual, only thinking for yourself. It is biting the tail of the rooster, which is represented by desire, because if you're only thinking about an individual, you're going to desire things, more money, more women, more men, whatever. This desire leads to jealousy, to hate, which is depicted by the snake. You're comparing yourself to others. You should have what they have. They have more than you. These three poisons are depicted biting the tails because they show that every single one of these poisons leads to the other, and it creates this endless cycle. By giving into the poisons, you live in this illusion that it is about you, that it is only you, that we are not all connected, and it starts this wheel of samsara. How and where you reincarnate is dictated by your karma. Everybody has heard the word karma, but most people do not actually understand what karma is. You often hear karma's a bitch, what comes around goes around, but that's not actually what karma is. In the Bible, Jesus talks about the chains of the devil that bind us down. And I think that explains karma really well, because what karma is every action that you have with someone, whether you hurt them, whether you do something good, whatever it is, you create a karmic debt. We are all tied to one another with these karmic debts, these chains. Debts need to be repaid. And therefore, we are in this endless cycle of reincarnation because so much debt has accrued. Not all debt is bad. Your karma dictates which realm you will reincarnate into. Like I said, there's 6 realms. You have the gods, the demigods, and the humans. You also have animals, hungry ghosts, and demon creatures or hell-like creatures. So if you're incarnated as a god, you know no suffering. Everything is pleasurable, everything is amazing. Your suffering comes at the end of your life. They live extremely long lives, by the way, but at the end of your life, you realize that you will incarnate at a lesser realm. That's where the suffering happens. An oversimplification of how you would get to this realm would be if you have a lot of positive karma, but a lot of pride. Next, you have the demigods. These are extremely powerful beings, but they're also controlled by jealousy. There's a lot of infighting, there's a lot of comparison. If you have a lot of good karma, but a lot of desire, this is where you go. A lot of Buddhist legends also say that this is where the tree of life is. The tree of knowledge of good and evil, as spoken about in the Garden of Eden, that would actually be in the realms of the gods. I'm going to skip over humans, we'll talk about that one last, but you have the realms of the animals. Animals suffer from cold, hunger, sickness, cannibalism, and a lack of intelligence. If you accrue negative karma and a lot of ignorance, this is where you would go. There's a lot of ignorance in this world, like willing ignorance. Next, you have the hungry ghosts. They suffer because their hunger, their thirst is never quenched. A lot of Buddhists talk about this is where you could potentially go if you have negative karma and addictions that are unresolved. Hence, hunger's not being quenched. It's an absolute torturous existence. Negative karma and greed is the combination for this. Most torturous existence is the hell creatures. This existence is extremely long suffering, and this is negative karma and hatred. Alright, we're at 4 minutes, which is way too long, so we're going to do a part 2. We're going to talk about humans, we're going to talk about how this is a cycle. You do not win if you become God, because as you saw, it is a will, it is a cycle. You are constantly moving up and down throughout all eternity. So the question is, how do you escape this reincarnation cycle and truly go to an area of infinite bliss, which they call nirvana?
Maybe you have karma, maybe you don't. I don't know where you go after this, but you gotta go somewhere. And if you behave, maybe you gotta go somewhere good. If you do something wrong, intentionally, to somebody else, you're gonna get that come back to you. Because everything you put out in the universe comes back to you. So try to be a nice person to your fellow beings.
This is not New York in 2023. This is Greece right now. I have a whole bunch of other ones to show you. This is insane. What would even cause this? Nope, not Mars, still Greece.
But look at, it looks like there's, or like black. This is nuts. This is really nuts. It's literally orange. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's orange. Everything is orange.
Do you hear what he said? He said there's something black in the sky. He said that obviously it's orange, but there's something black. I'm not sure, because when New York was orange, they said it was because of the Canadian fires. But he's saying he sees something black in the sky.
There's no filter on nothing.
What could be black in the sky causing it to turn orange in Greece?
Yeah, you know what I think about that sun. It's not real. It's just some kind of lead lamp. And whatever dark thing he saw, the black thing, it's probably because the sun simulator has broken down and the sun is behind it, making everything orange because it's a red ball right now. And that makes that little sun simulator that's in front of it just appear black, like an eclipse.
Things you do not want to know unless you genuinely want to be traumatized. I'm not talking about things like how your hot water bottle has an expiry, how many people doctors unalive every single day. However, today is following on from the doctor's theme with some new research that was conducted which will leave you speechless. So, I'm sure you've all heard of organ donation. A lot of people do it after they pass away, or they give a kidney or something to a relative. It's a very commonly acknowledged thing now. I'm pretty sure you have to tick a box if you don't want to donate your organs now. However, what I bet you didn't know is that reportedly, when you have an organ donation, your memories go with it. I know, when I first saw this I was like, hell nah, not true. Just watch. Research has been conducted on several different people, and this one case that I'm going to talk about is insane. What they're saying is that organs such as the heart or the brain, major organs, they are transferred from one person to another. The memory inside that kind of exists still, because why wouldn't it? After all, the brain, your consciousness is in that, so it makes sense. A 3-year-old girl passed away, and this 9-year-old boy received her heart. Of course, the young boy didn't know anything about the girl, what happened to her, no one did. He just received it because he was in a very bad condition. Story's all over the news at the moment, so I'm sure you can find it if you look it up online. It's all here. But suddenly, after he had this transplant, he was terrified of water. He wouldn't go swimming, he would not go in the pool, he was just completely terrified of it and said he couldn't explain why. Associated water with death. A weird feeling that something had happened with water before, even though it hadn't to him. Nothing at all. Well, it turns out that the 3-year-old girl whose heart he received passed away by drowning in a pool in the backyard. Well, they're looking into this more because reportedly there's been many other cases where people have actually had full-on memories from brain transplants from other people. People are freaking out after realizing how old their apples are and that they could be unaliving you. Apples, I'm pretty certain you're not growing them all in your garden, so you have to buy them from somewhere, right? Of course you might buy them from fresh produce sometimes, but most of the time you're going to be buying them in the supermarket and they look all shiny and everything like that. For some reason, most people have been thinking that apples are like a few days old once they're in the supermarket, and are now horrified finding out the truth. Apples in the supermarket, when you're walking down and picking one up, are normally over a year old. Like, they just been sat there, rotting. Probably asking how come they don't rot, because like the average lifespan is about 5 to 7 days. Normally they're just put in some ultra storage that keeps them fresh, but normally they're also coated in a special type of wax, which doesn't sound pleasant. Essentially it keeps them fresh and looking shiny, so you think brand new gum. People have been testing this out on social media recently and like skinning the top of them and getting the wax. Of course, the wax is not good for you, so eating them actually isn't as good as you think it is. But let me know if you knew this, and I'll see you in the next one.
I near think that they're grinding up humans in the McDonald's meat. I really do think that. And then people say I'm crazy, but I think they're putting anything they can in that McDonald's meat. I think there's human remains in there. I started thinking, you know what? At least rat. At least rat.
It's amazing to me that people are still eating that shit. I mean, damn. Don't you know what's in that stuff?
In the US right now, everyone's appearing to get sick and everyone's saying they're foggy-headed, but even that it's foggy outside. It's weird. I'm gonna tell you how to fix it, and it's not going where you think. And yes, this is related, and the sky is blue for a reason. Before I start, I'll say two different things. One, the sun has been missing here in South Carolina 90% of the time. And two, your intuition is a lot smarter than you give it credit for. There's a whole lot of things that you just instinctively know without having to look it up. When you do look it up, you can say, why is it like this, instead of, is this this? The reason there's woods behind me is because if you go stand in the woods, you're going to get a ton of oxygen. And all that oxygen, believe it or not, will heal you much faster than anything else. So in my new house, when I go to the back porch, it's noticeably colder outside. It's all trees, so it's all oxygen. So back to the intuition I was talking about, I knew it was colder, but why? Because its boiling point of oxygen is extremely low. But what does solid oxygen look like? It turns blue. What else is blue? And where's the bluest stuff in the world? That icy place. Why? And above the firmament that was over their head with the likeness of a throne and appearance of a sapphire stone. A sapphire stone. And they come in all different colors. So is it possible that there's quite literally concentrated oxygen right above us? And quite possibly solid? That F word right there. Anyways, for all the sick people, go stand in the forest. And yes, it will help, just like hyperbaric oxygen chambers help you get quicker faster. The more you know.
I always try to do my videos here in the woods, because the energies are always so much better. I feel so much better. Plus, you get a walk, and that's always good for the body. You gotta remember to ground yourself. So take a moment of your day, if you can, and just take a walk, man. Just go outside, sit somewhere. For 5-10 minutes, doesn't have to be more. Trust me, you're gonna feel so much better. Whenever I see these type of videos, my soul cries, man.
It really seems like these past 2 weeks, there's just been a plethora of civilian UFO videos.
My friend in New Jersey,
the
way before
big
everybody started talking about it, he's called me up.
He's like, dude, I'm seeing these drones. They're so big.
He goes, they're the size of SUVs.
With New Jersey, there's been at least 1,000 people recorded drones in the sky. Some of them look a little suspect, but there's others that are just like, they're literally just sitting there, and they're just kind of like doing this, and then it's like 3 of them.
If they are drones, what are you guys doing? Are you surveilling us now?
Yeah, and why is the FBI being like, we're gonna investigate it? It's if they're drones, like,
wouldn't you know?
That are the size of cars, you should probably figure that out pretty quick, you know?
In our airspace.
That's the weirdest thing. If you're asking me what they're doing, they're collecting data on how people are going to react.
All right, folks, that's all for today. Be good to each other, and I'll see you next time. Peace.